Today on Locked On Rockies, it's finally here. Opening day for the Colorado Rockies. A tough season ahead, lots of promise. Well, anything is possible on a day like today.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 28th day of March in the year 2024, also known as opening day. I am your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day is talk Rockies baseball, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and available to you on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show by subscribing, letting me know what's on your mind, firing off your Rockies hot takes, and letting me know what you are thinking about when it comes to our beloved Colorado Rockies. When you subscribe, when you leave your comments, when you like the videos, you're helping the show grow. The easiest way to help the show is by subscribing to the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Folks, you have turned out in droves lately for the support of the show. Really do appreciate all of you for tuning in and joining us. We've had easily one of the biggest weeks in show history since we were interviewing a bunch of guests, and I want to thank all of our guests as well. Patrick Lyon, Susie Hunter, Evan Lang, Skylar Timmons, Jake Shapiro, and Aaron McBride, all covering the Rockies here for different media outlets. So make sure that you are supporting the folks that help make this show possible, not just the sponsors, but the people that cover the team and the people that do a great job making sure that you have all the Rockies info that you need. But today is a day of celebration. Today is a day of opportunity. Today is a day of potential. It's opening day for the Colorado Rockies. And after today, the Rockies could be in a tie for first place. The Rockies could be already in last place. The Rockies could be above 500 for the only part of the season. Today is a special and unique day on the baseball calendar because, yes, there's 161 more games after this. But today, in just this small sample size, the Rockies can be in first place. The Orioles could be in last place. The A's could be in first place. Somebody you've never heard of could have their best game of their career. Someone, one of the best names in the business, can come out ice cold. The possibilities are, I don't want to say endless, because that's not true. But on a day like today, all the speculation, everything that you look at and everything that you focus on with the Rockies kind of goes at least somewhat in the back of your mind. Today is just the day of celebrating that Rockies baseball is back, and it's going to be back now from today until October. We wish it would probably go longer, but let's be realistic. It's going to probably end in the regular season for us Rockies fans. But right now, nothing is set in stone. No narrative is true about the season yet. No possibility, and nothing has happened where the Rockies can't do what they want to do, can't reach their goals. They're going into this season healthier, except, you can look at the rotation and argue otherwise, but position player wise, this team is going in healthy. This team has young players that are hungry and aggressive and ready to make their mark on the league. This is a different Rockies team. I think it's still going to be a frustrating season. I think it's still going to be difficult for Rockies fans. But hopefully what we see starting today is that the Rockies plan is working, that the Rockies moves are working, that the Rockies themselves are seeing the fruits of of their labor. Or we're going to start seeing things unravel and unwind and see how far off the Rockies truly are. There is no bigger test really for the Rockies than this opening schedule. Not a single team that played below 500 ball are matching up with the Rockies here in the first month and a half of the season, just about. Not a single one. Until you play the Pirates in the beginning of May, you're playing good teams. So if you want to impress people, If you want to change the narrative about your team, if you want to surprise people about this ball club, it starts right now. It starts today against the team that just added a World Series pitcher, against the team that has been one of the sneaky best teams in baseball since a midpoint of last year. This is the moment. This is the opportunity for the Rockies to prove that they not only know what they're doing, they know what they're doing, but for them to show that things are working, that the Rockies are moving in the right direction since hitting rock bottom. Changing the narrative starts today. Changing the reputation starts today, or at least hopefully, because the Rockies have a lot of work to do on that front. But if they want to impress people, it all starts tonight. No way around it. Late start for the Rocks tonight, 8:10. Kind of a bummer. So I think this season will be better. I think this season is going to be a little less frustrating. A little less frustrating. I think there's going to be some highs. There's definitely going to be some lows. But I'm intrigued to see what this roster can do now that it's fully turned over to these guys. There's no head scratcher about if Nolan Jones and Brenton Doyle are going to play. I know there's the first base right field conundrum is going to continue. But it's going to start figuring itself out now. The Chris Bryant health question. Every single thing we speculated and talked about a million times throughout this offseason since the season ended last year. Now's the time to show that things are that it was worth it. A huge surprise could be the Rockies coming out swinging on offense tonight. Road game against the team, an NL West rival that was just in the World Series. If you want to make a statement tonight, the Rockies have to come out swinging, have to come out and be aggressive, and have to come out and be the team that wants to show that they are not the basement dweller that everyone thinks they are. Remember, there are a lot of people that think the Rockies are the worst team in baseball. The worst team in baseball. Worse than Chicago White Sox, worse than the Oakland Athletics. If you want to change that, if you want to prove them wrong, it all starts tonight. Kyle Freeland on the bump, the right guy to get the Rockies off on the right step. The new look offense, led by young guys. Can Brenton Doyle's change to his swing carry over? Can the Rockies carry over? Can the Rockies go up against one of the best pitchers in the business on day one and handle business? Because the games matter now. And there's the cloak of spring training is gone. Every single all these games matter now, especially for the Rockies. They matter because you have to figure out who's staying, who's going, who's part of the future, who's contributing, who's not. It's going to be a big year for the Colorado Rockies, even if they're not big in the win column. Hey, I got a chance to speak with a baseball writer, Joe Posnanski here. You've probably heard of him. He's one of the people that has just covered the game for a long, long time. I recorded this interview for my day job, so there's no video component to it, so I apologize for that, but the conversation is really, really good, and it's about why we love baseball. It's about opening day. It's about the momentum that baseball had going in and now with the Shohei news. So we're going to have that come up here in segment number 2, and then we're going to wind things down with the TV plan. There is a TV plan that announced for the Rockies. We will dive into all of that coming up on the rest of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime. Gametime's got you covered. If you need tickets here for opening day, you don't need to be frustrated. You don't need to be blown away by terrible fees. You don't need to miss out on all of the fun of your favorite sports action, concerts, comedy, all that good stuff. Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. I can confirm that. For the All-Star game last year, I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. Boom, got a great deal 10 minutes before the game started, but I got a great deal. I got into the field. I got in there. Gametime is one of my favorite apps out there when it comes to tickets. Why? Well, they not only have great deals and protection for you, but they also give you an image of your seat so you know exactly where you're sitting. This is my favorite part of it. They got the all-in pricing, so you can toggle that feature to show the total upfront. No surprise fees at checkout, so you know everything that you're paying for right there. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. For a limited time, all users can get $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more in the Gametime app with code FIRSTPITCH. Terms do apply. That's code FIRSTPITCH for $20 off from March 25th to April 14th only. Download the Gametime app. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. We're right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Folks, I want to dive into this interview here that I had with Joe Posnanski for my day job. It's about his book, Why We Love Baseball, opening day, and some of the stories of baseball. So we are going to fire that up here, and let's fire it off.
That question, why we love baseball. Why do you love baseball?
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny. I have a lot of answers to the question of why I love baseball, and obviously inevitably wrote a whole book about why we love baseball. But you know, for me, I think it comes down to these moments that we all have with the game that stay with us. You know, for me, that was growing up in Cleveland. It was playing catch with my dad. It was going to, watch Cleveland play at old Municipal Stadium, and my heroes like Dwayne Kuiper and Buddy Bell and Rick Manning and these guys, just living and dying with everything that they did. Playing Little League. I mean, it's all of these individual moments that I think make you fall in love with the game, and then all of these moments that come along constantly. I mean, the stuff that you guys very much understand in Seattle over the last little bit since Julio Rodriguez got there, that just reminds you why you love the game and sort of reinvigorate that love for baseball. I mean, it's one of these sports that I think you renew every year. It's this time of the year, it's opening day, and it's like, oh yeah, baseball, it's here again, and you fall in love with it all over again. So it really, to me, does come down to these moments.
What makes opening day so unique for baseball? Is it the fact that it's the long summer ahead, and on this day everyone is on the same level? I mentioned this is the one day of the season that the Rockies might be ahead of the Dodgers in the standings. What makes opening day for baseball so special?
Well, I think it's everything you just said, for sure. I mean, the hope that comes with it, and the fact that it is such a long season, and at this moment right now, anything is possible. I mean, the Rockies could win. You don't know. I mean, look at the Diamondbacks last year, going into the year, and whatever hope there was on opening day, and then suddenly at the end of the year they're in the World Series. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think there is something really seasonal about it. I mean, we're just now, the days are getting longer. The weather's clearing. We're getting more sunny days. And when that happens every year, baseball comes. I mean, it's the timing is just perfect. And you have this wonderful thing to look ahead to. It's summer, and school's out, and vacations are coming, and swimming pools and barbecues, and baseball on the radio. I mean, all of these things I think are just really exciting. So I think it's a celebration. Look, the opening football weekend is great, and when the NBA or NHL get going, particularly when the playoffs get going, I mean, there's a real anticipation. But I think for baseball, it's larger than that. It's hey, winter is over, spring is here, summer is coming, and it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's really a perfect way to nail it. It's the official start of summer, at least for me. When I was in school, when baseball was starting, that means summer vacation right around the corner as well. Let's talk a little bit about the book. It's coming out later, but when you were looking at these moments for the book for Why We Love Baseball, were you looking for certain moments in particular? I know you've done a lot of chronicling of baseball in your career. You know a lot about the game. What about these moments stuck out to you? Was there something in particular or something that maybe connected all of them together?
Yeah, I mean, there really was. And this book, I mean, it's been you love to see, like, you work so hard on something and then to see the way people respond to it, and the way that people have responded to this book is absolutely perfect, because all I wanted from these moments, every single one of them, was, is this why we love baseball? That was it. It wasn't how important the moment was or how dramatic the moment was or how surprising the moment was. I mean, those surprising, dramatic, awesome moments are in here for sure, but it was, why do we love baseball? So, so that was the only question. So, when I asked, when you think about Edgar Martinez's double, is that why we love baseball? Absolutely. And particularly in Seattle. When you look at Carlton Fisk's home run, is that why we love baseball? Absolutely. But also when you see the ball bounce off of Jose Canseco's head and bounce over the fence, is that why we love baseball? And it's absolutely, it is. And so there are big moments in here and small moments in here and things that everybody knows about that hopefully I can give them a little new insight into, but also stories that I would imagine just about nobody has heard before. So that was the idea. The idea entirely was built around the title, Why We Love Baseball, and every single moment, the main question that I asked at the end of the day was, does this explain why we love baseball? And if it does, then it's in the book, and if it doesn't, then unfortunately I'm going to have to leave it out.
I think one of the ones, and this is the one that I saw too, I think that perfectly encapsulates this, was Ken Griffey Jr. robbing the fly ball from Ken Griffey Sr. I mean, that's a moment that basically only lives in baseball. I mean, at least that I can think of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really funny because it was like, I'm trying to come up with all of these different ways to tell this story of why it is we love baseball, because I think baseball, like, I have a book coming out in September called Why We Love Football, and it was such a blast to write, but totally different, because I think Why We Love Football is a much more direct thing. Each of these plays that are in that book, each of these moments that are in that book, are kind of direct. And baseball, well, we love baseball because it's dramatic. We love baseball because it's poetic. We love baseball because it's funny. We love baseball because it's sweet. And to me, that moment, I mean, you want a great Ken Griffey Jr. moment in there. And for me, there's you could watch his swing, and that could be the moment. Obviously, he had incredible home runs; those could be the moments. But to me, the moment that he steps in front of his dad, they're playing together, stealing the fly ball, and just the great smile on his face after he did it, and his dad looking at him the way that all of our dads probably have looked at us at one point or another. Just amazing, just wonderful, and to me, very much at the heart of why it is we love baseball.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff that people remember, and the moments that baseball provides with, like you said, there's so many games, there's so many opportunities for fun stuff like this, and then you get the added bonus of a really, really big father and son duo playing the game together. I just a couple more questions here. There's a lot going on with baseball, a lot of changes that happened last year, and of course the big news with Shohei Ohtani here leading up to. What do you think the atmosphere, the energy around baseball is heading into opening day? Would you say that there's still a lot of positive momentum even amongst this Ohtani news?
Well, I mean, it's a bummer. Look, there's no way around it. The Ohtani news is a real bummer, and it doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime soon. And I'd say it's a bummer in a lot of ways because I think baseball did have a lot of super positive momentum going. I thought the changes last year were largely successful and largely embraced. There was, I thought last year was a lot of fun. I mean, the attendance was way up, and things were really exciting. The postseason was not that great. And then this offseason has been kind of weird with, certain guys signing, but we always had Ohtani, right? Like that was the thing was, there were great things happening around the game. And then Ohtani signs with the Dodgers for the biggest contract in American sports history. And it's just everything is so positive around that and so positive around him. He's such a joyful player that this is a real bummer. And I mean, sure, it's going to pass at some point or another, and we're gonna go through it, and the game is going to go on, and obviously Shohei Ohtani is not all of baseball. There's excitement everywhere. I mean, it's certainly exciting in Seattle right now. So I think there's still plenty of positives going on, but I don't think any baseball fan could be, this is taking up a lot of oxygen, and it kind of stinks for the game.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, there's so much speculation. The only thing we can do is just continue to wait and figure out as information comes out. But let's shift back to why we love the game of baseball. Are there some moments you wanted to highlight that didn't quite make the book? And I'm curious if you can give me your thoughts on the 2007 Rocktober run by the Colorado Rockies, because I believe it is one of the baseball stories that doesn't get told enough.
It's a really, really wild baseball story for sure. And it's in the book specifically in the Rockies section, but not so much in the overall. I mean, there were a lot of moments that didn't quite make the book. Most of them the reason was that there was something else in the book that kind of took its place. There were for instance, one of the moments I've been asked about is Roberto Clemente's inside the park walk-off home run, which he hit, which is obviously incredibly cool and awesome. And the fact that Clemente did it is doubly special. But there already is a Roberto Clemente moment in the book that I really loved. And so a lot of it was like that there were moments that were just trumped by other moments that were just a little bit, I think, more reflective of why we love the game. But there were a lot. This was a lot different, honestly, than the Baseball 100, where with the Baseball 100, when I'm counting down the 100 greatest players ever, everywhere I go, all anybody wants to talk to me about is why this guy didn't make it, why this guy was ranked so high. And, that's, which I knew. I mean, that was going to be part of ranking the 100 greatest players ever. With this one, it's different. There are people that will say, hey, why didn't 2007 Rockies get in? Why didn't, the Milt Papases, whatever, get in? Everybody has got their own viewpoint. But for the most part, I think people sort of understood that the rankings were, while important, that what they were was they were there to tell this story of what it is that we love about the game, and I think it's I think it's sort of, that's what baseball is like, all I did with this book, I hope, is open a conversation, and that conversation will lead to everybody telling me or themselves or each other when they read the book what their moment is, and those moments they're going to be all over the place for sure.
And we got a whole season of new moments just around the corner. Joe, thank you so much. Where can people find the book and more about your work?
Yeah, the book is everywhere. I mean, you can definitely get it at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and local bookstores and every place else. You can go to my website, joeposnanski.com. I do a newsletter, daily newsletter that I call Joe Blogs. That is a lot of fun and a lot of work. You get a lot for subscribing, so it's tremendous fun. And then, like we talked about, September 17th, my football book comes out, and I'm obviously very excited about that as well.
Joe, thank you so much for the time. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to start with that question.
All right, folks, there you go. Our conversation there, Joe Posnanski. You might be like, Seattle. You said Seattle a couple of times. That was for my day job there here out in the Pacific Northwest. But really loved that conversation. And I thought this would be a perfect time to air the rest of it. Hey, want to give you the update on the TV deal for the Rockies that was just announced today on opening day. A little frustrating, a little worrisome, but we'll dive into that coming up here next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about some of the folks that help makes this show possible, and that includes PrizePicks. PrizePicks has got you covered here for your daily fantasy sports need because PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. It can be Charlie Blackmon hits. It could be Kyle Freeland strikeouts. It could be Nolan Jones walks. It could be all of those. You pick more than or less than on the player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can see all of the action for yourself on the PrizePicks apps, and you can even get injury insurance. PrizePicks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, the player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry stays alive. Check out all the action, bet on your Nuggets or maybe the Avs or maybe the Rockies when you play daily fantasy sports with PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's all lowercase, LOCKEDONMLB. When you download the app, PrizePicks, and you'll get a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast here on opening day, getting excited for opening day. I'm excited for opening day, one of the best days on the sports calendar. And folks, if you're wondering how you can watch the Rockies, well, they just announced today, which a little weird, a little worrisome, and a little strange that it took until literally opening day to tell your fans where they can watch the game, as they've been wondering all offseason long where they can watch their games. I know the streaming package was announced, but I really am curious what took so long. I know it maybe not be that big of a deal, especially as, hey, there's an announcement. Why did it take so long? Why is it not on Dish? I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff. There's questions here. There's some weirdness here, but I don't want to dive too deep into that. It's just something to think about here. You can watch the Colorado Rockies on some traditional cable platforms here, cable and satellite. The Rockies are available on DirecTV, Xfinity and Comcast, Fubo, and Spectrum. Of course, they're also streaming online. They're going to be DirecTV channel 683, Xfinity Comcast channel 1262, Fubo, it'll just be there. On Spectrum, it'll be channel 130 or 445 for most of Colorado and Wyoming. Gunnison and Telluride, it's going to be 305 or 445, and Lincoln, Nebraska, 435 or 445 there on Spectrum. So there you go. I don't see what if that means there's an extra cost or there's a package here that you have to sign up for. If you have to pay for this $99 a year streaming service to then get it added there. So I believe if I'm let's see. Cable and satellite providers offering Rockies TV include platforms in the following table. If you are a current subscriber, all you need to do is refer to the platform table or enter your zip code in the channel finder below and follow your respective instructions in the FAQ section at the bottom of the page. So there seems to be, I'm trying to see if I can find anything in terms of cost for these. But I think you are going to need to pick up this package. I am not sure. I highly recommend going and looking up here. I believe you're going to need to buy the package, which is $100 for the year, and then it'll activate on there, and it'll also give you access to streaming it. I think. A little confused. Again, I'm confused here, and not the right day to be confused here. So Rockies fans, tune into those channels there on DirecTV, Xfinity, Fubo, or Spectrum and see what it says, because it might tell you that you need to activate some sort of plan, or maybe it's part of what you pay for there. But the Rockies will be on TV, Xfinity, Comcast, Spectrum, and DirecTV, as well as Fubo there. So, but folks, enjoy today. Enjoy today. There's a long season ahead, and there's a lot of frustration probably ahead. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of bleh out there. But today, it's opening day. Anything is possible today. The Rockies can be above 500 and at the top of the division or fighting for a spot. And yeah, sure, it might just be for a day. But hey, that day is today. And we celebrate opening day here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We will break down game 1 with Millard Thomas of Locked On Diamondbacks. That will be coming your way tomorrow after the game. Folks, enjoy today. I hope you enjoy your opening day traditions. I hope you enjoy this day with friends and family. And if you're spending it here with us on Locked On Rockies, really appreciate that as well. Really appreciate you all making us your first listen of the day. Really appreciate y'all gearing up to tune in for another season of Rockies baseball. Folks, that's going to do it for us today. Enjoy the holiday. And make sure for your second listen, getting all your baseball needs covered with Locked On MLB, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Buffs, and Locked On Nuggets got you covered as well for more Colorado sports coverage. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.